Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really tearing into something that, well, it transforms our homes every year, doesn't it? The fascinating world of Christmas decor themes.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much variety there is.
Exactly. And we've sifted through this fantastic collection of sources, all outlining these really diverse approaches to holiday decorating. So our mission for this deep dive, basically pull out the most compelling bits, the nuggets of knowledge from all of it. We want to give you a bit of a shortcut, really, to being well informed about the whole spectrum of holiday looks out there. And it's custom tailored to help you navigate these ideas, find your own inspiration.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the real value, isn't it? It
Mhm.
goes beyond just how things look. Understanding these different themes,
Mm.
from the super traditional stuff to really unique modern takes, it can genuinely help you nail down your perfect holiday style or, spark totally new ideas.
Mm.
And it often shows how our choices reflect deeper things too. Personal stories, preferences, even sometimes how we feel about the holiday itself at that moment. It's about crafting that atmosphere that just feels right.
Okay, right. So let's unpack this. Diving into our sources, one theme just comes up again and again. It's like the powerhouse theme, the
Mm.
classic red and gold.
The absolute classic.
Mm-hmm.
And our research suggests this isn't just like a random color choice. It's got deep roots, right?
Mm-hmm.
In early holiday commercialization, Santa Claus imagery,
Mm-hmm.
did the sources give any sort of surprising historical details on why it stuck around so firmly? Well, what's really interesting about the classic red and gold, according to these sources, is that its popularity isn't just nostalgia, though that's part of it. It was actually quite deliberate design-wise. Red, historically linked with warmth, vitality,
Right.
and then gold, symbol of luxury, prosperity. That pairing became dominant as Christmas shifted, from mainly religious to this big cultural celebration we know now. It's a theme that just consistently signals tradition, celebration, give that established holiday feeling, taps into a kind of collective memory of Christmas, almost subconscious.
Huh. It's fascinating how that warmth just lasts, but then the sources take this sharp turn to something completely different, but still really captivating. Winter Wonderland White.
Oh yeah, a total contrast.
The material described it as, well, ethereal. How does it manage that? That sort of unique atmospheric shift away from the traditional reds and golds.
Right, the Wonderland white theme. The sources explore how it gets that ethereal quality by basically mimicking the quiet calm of, fresh snow.
Mm.
It's less about obvious cheer
Mm-hmm.
and more about creating this sophisticated, really tranquil escape.
Okay.
The material suggests it became popular partly as a reaction against the more maximalist styles.
Mm-hmm.
It appeals to people wanting that clean, crisp look that feels both modern and deeply serene.
Mm.
And it often relies heavily on texture, glitter, maybe faux fur, delicate
Mhm.
glass to create depth without loads of color.
That makes sense. And okay, if you are looking for warmth, but maybe something less formal, less grand than red and gold, the insights we looked at point straight towards rustic charm.
The cozy factor.
Totally. Bringing the outdoors in, but with this lovely sort of handcrafted feel.
Right.
What did the sources suggest about keeping it from looking a little kitschy, making sure it feels genuinely authentic?
That's a really good point. Because, yeah, rustic charm can go kitschy if you're not careful.
Yeah.
The sources really stress authenticity,
Mhm.
using real natural things like actual wood slices, pine cones you gathered,
Mhm.
substantial plaid fabrics, not cheap imitations.
Right. The real deal.
Exactly. They also mentioned mixing in maybe some vintage finds or handmade ornaments to give it that personal story and kind of avoiding a look that's too perfect or overly staged. It's meant to feel warm, approachable, and grounded, genuinely lived in,
Hmm.
like a cozy cabin or farmhouse vibe.
Okay, now for something that's just pure out and out fun, our sources really dug into the candy cane fun theme.
Ah, yes, the sugar rush theme.
Totally. Beyond just the stripes, what did the research highlight about, say, the psychological impact, its unique appeal, especially for families?
Well, the candy cane fun theme, according to the sources, is basically a masterclass in sparking that childlike wonder and sensory delight. It's not just the red and white stripes themselves. It's the instant connection to candy, to sweets, the joy of indulgence.
Yeah, instant recognition.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The material suggested that high recognition and the sort of inherent playfulness make it super appealing for families. It fosters an environment where, imagination and that sweet anticipation really take over.
Mm.
It uses these bright, accessible visuals that kind of bypass adult seriousness and go straight for pure, uninhibited holiday cheer.
Right. Okay, shifting gears quite a bit from that level of exuberance, we then hit the minimalist modern theme.
Mm-hmm. The other end of the spectrum again.
What's really insightful about this one, based on the sources, especially when you put it up against that traditional holiday maximalism.
What's really interesting about Minimalist Modern, reading through the sources, is how it kind of emerged as a counterstory to all the holiday excess. It's less is more in a cold way, and maybe more about meaningful is more. It seems to reflect a growing desire, maybe for more mindful consumption, more deliberate design choices, even during peak holiday season.
Yeah.
The sources even touched on how it's often picked by people wanting to, cut down on the post-holiday clutter and create a sense of calm amidst all the holiday rush. It favors clean lines, simple shapes, a really limited color palette, which makes every single piece you do choose really stand out and count.
Interesting. Okay, bringing us back towards nature, but maybe with a slightly different angle than rustic charm. There's the nature-inspired greenery theme.
Yes, focusing purely on the greens.
Our sources really highlighted its power to create this deeply organic, tranquil atmosphere. Did they offer any practical tips for really maximizing that fresh beauty indoors?
Yeah, the material really emphasized the sensory experience of nature-inspired greenery. So beyond just how it looks, it's about the smell of fresh pine or eucalyptus, the different textures of real leaves and branches.
All right, the scent.
Exactly. Practical tips included things like using different types of evergreens, pine, fir, cedar, juniper to get varied textures and shades of green, and using subtle natural accents, maybe some berries, pine cones, perhaps dried orange slices, nothing too flashy. The key, they suggested, is letting the natural beauty of the plants themselves shine. Maybe pair it with warm, understated lighting to really bring that authentic, calming feeling of the outdoors inside.
Lovely. And for something truly unique, especially if you're maybe dreaming of a white Christmas, but with a sandy beach involved, the sources mentioned coastal Christmas.
Right. Sounds a bit unexpected.
It does. It sounds like a really refreshing change. How does it actually manage to merge those, seemingly opposite ideas without feeling weird or out of place?
It's clever how it works. This theme beautifully merges those two worlds by focusing more on color palettes and textures rather than trying to recreate literal winter scenes on the beach.
Okay.
The sources showed how Coastal Christmas uses blues, sandy neutrals, crisp whites colors that evoke that airy, relaxed beach feeling. And then it brings in traditional holiday shapes or ideas, but through a sort of marine lens. Think starfish as tree toppers, maybe shell ornaments, driftwood accents. It works because it is such a distinct break from traditional winter imagery.
Yeah.
It often taps into that desire for escape, maybe, or memories of warm weather holidays during the cold months. Creates a really unique, often lighthearted feel.
That's pretty cool, actually. Now, beyond these big overarching themes, our sources also really stress the importance of, individual touches, things that personalize any decor scheme. One specific idea was personalized ornaments.
Oh, absolutely crucial for many people.
And the material suggested these go way beyond just looking nice. How do they kind of transform a simple decoration into something more like a cherished memory or tribute?
Personalized ornaments are fascinating because, they turn these static decorations into dynamic little storytellers. The sources really highlighted how they become these tangible markers of family history, celebrating milestones, first Christmases, new homes, memorable trips.
Yeah, like little time capsules.
Exactly. They're not just about aesthetics. They become this archive of shared experiences, of growth. It makes the annual ritual of decorating the tree really reflective and deeply meaningful for many families. Each ornament holds its own specific story, turning the tree into a kind of living family album.
That's lovely. And finally, our sources really champion the spirit of actually making things, the DIY handmade magic theme.
Yes, getting crafty.
The research here suggested the value isn't just in, the finished bauble or garland, but in the process itself. How does that act of making decorations actually deepen the connection to the holiday season?
Well, the DIY handmade magic theme, it truly emphasizes the doing, the process, just as much as the final product. The sources highlighted that the act of crafting something with your own hands for the holidays, it infuses your decor with, care, intention,
Right.
and a unique personal touch that, mass-produced stuff just can't replicate.
Right, it's got your energy in it.
Precisely.
Yes.
And it often becomes a cherished tradition in itself, maybe involving kids or friends. And often the little imperfections in handmade things are exactly what make them the most treasured pieces. It's really about pouring a bit of your heart into your holiday space, fostering creativity, and building these new tactile memories around the season.
So, wow. We've journeyed through a really remarkable range of Christmas decor themes in this deep dive, from the enduring cultural weight of classic red and gold, the
Mm,
quiet beauty of winter wonderland white, the real warmth of rustic charm,
mm.
to the pure fun of candy cane fun, the sort of mindful elegance of minimalist modern, the organic freshness of nature-inspired greenery, and that unexpected coastal Christmas twist.
Mm.
And then we also touched on those deeply personal elements like personalized ornaments and the creative buzz of DIY handmade magic. So, okay, what does this all mean for your own holiday season?
Well, when you look at all these diverse themes together, what really stands out, I think, is that there's so much more than just decoration styles, right? They represent all these different ways people connect with the holiday season itself. They offer this whole spectrum of memories, traditions, new ideas, personal expression. The act of decorating, as our sources really illustrated, it's often way more than just aesthetics. It's truly about creating an atmosphere, maybe telling a story, or even building brand new traditions that, might carry on for years. So here's something to maybe mull over as you prepare for the holidays this year. How might your chosen holiday decor theme, or even just the individual bits and pieces you always seem to gravitate towards, how might that reflect not just your taste, but maybe your deepest hopes, or your most cherished memories for the season? What hidden stories might your decorations be telling about you? Perhaps stories you haven't even fully articulated to yourself yet.